Let me give you a little background information on this. To get this easily, draft this on probably a pattern, or if you have a cardboard, or if you have like a box. Like, I don't throw away most of my boxes, I reuse them. So this is like a pizza box that I'm using to get this done. Now, when you have this, you're going to make it to the size of the pocket you want. This is not going to be a chest pocket. It's going to be like a front patch pocket for either dresses or tops or jackets. And then the fabric, you fuse it. If it needs to be fused, just fuse it. And when you're fusing, try to check if your interfacing does not have like a part that stretches, so it doesn't make it stretch by the time you're sewing. You see, avoid that stretch, because you're still going to be pulling this all around. So if it stretches, you're probably giving yourself like some double work there. When you cut this, one thing you should try to do is have your markings, your pattern markings on it. There's no specific area to put it. Just put it any way you want. And this is meant to guide this thing by the time you're sewing it all round. I do this for almost all my patterns, and it's actually a professional thing to do. Give your patterns marking so that when you're joining, they're like the guide. So that when you're joining, you know you have not missed a point where one part should attach to the other. It's important on every fabric or on every pattern, let me say. They're called the pattern markings. And so the important things, in pattern drafting, do not forget them. So I mark the center here, I mark the sides here. I used an erasable marker on this, but I probably transfer it to a permanent marker. Then I can use an erasable for the fabric, because this I need to be permanent in case I want to reuse next time, so I don't forget. And when you're cutting this, you're going to cut it bigger, because we're going to fold the edges, you'll see by the time we start sewing. I'm going to be drawing this all over again, and transfer your markings. I'm doing this for part 2 because I have a fold line. Then it's time to iron. Iron the fold, like fold everything in. Apply water if you need to, because if you use steam is going to give you clean edges. Or if you can spray it with some water, it's going to help you have the edges well folded. If your fabric is like cotton, like Ankara fabric, you may not need to apply any much water, because it's going to fold easily with iron. So we're starting with 3. This is the main fabric where I'm going to put the pocket as a representative of the fabric of the main garment. I have the pocket marked here as well, with all the markings transferred there. And I have this marked out that I showed you earlier. And as you can see, I had to change this into like more clear, because the erasable markers are definitely going to melt away. So if you use the same thing by the time you're done, well, it depends on your fabric, because I use water to iron this. That is why it's melting out. If I did not use water, it's not going to melt out. It's going to stay just like this on the fabric. I mean, you're going to love it. And it disappears after a few hours, 24 hours max. It disappears. It doesn't stay on your garment. I may drop a link in the comment where you can purchase yours on Amazon as well. I don't want to forget that, and I really would like to remember. Then I have, this is the inner, the lining of the pocket. The same thing here done. It's going to be inside, and I'm sewing. You understand this better. I'll be marking I have the markers already here. They are faint because it's already disappearing. I've cut it for like a few minutes earlier, so this is fading out gradually. I'll probably remark it with my pencil so it doesn't disappear on me. Don't worry if it doesn't look so clear. I don't really need any markings on this. This is the facing of the pocket. The most important ones are this one and the main pocket itself. So let's go.
This one is going to be easy as long as you just follow the instructions carefully. Stitch the pockets to the lining from the upper part. Then preferably
Top over here.
the lines you want to cut to make sure the lines are pointing to all the angled corners on your pocket markings. Cut it like an X, then the other extra corners, cut and slash. Make sure the slashes get exactly to the edge of those lines. Then you start stitching in exactly as you see me do in this video. It is not difficult at all. So shift, and those lines you've marked earlier are going to be your guidelines and your guiding points as you stitch, so you know you haven't made a mistake and the fabric has not stretched. And when you're done with this, then it's time to face it back to turn in the lining. So you flip everything in, then it's time to just stitch it down. If you've tried welt pocket before, you know this is almost like what the welt pocket looks like. If you prefer, you can iron it before you do final sewing. So iron it out and do the final sewing, sewing all the excesses exactly the way you see me do in this video. When you're sewing it down, make sure you don't catch the main fabric together with it. Just sew and go on neatly. Pull the lining, the face and the pocket facing together.
So you would have trimmed off all the excess behind and ironed this perfectly. And here we are.
I like this pocket because you do not see any sewing line outside, no stitches outside. It's just perfectly neat. Now moving on to second pocket, the style number 2, we're going to use the exact pattern we did the other time, transferring the template onto our fabric and using it to cut our patch pocket. We're going to mark the markings again. The importance, the essence of these markings is if you have them, they're going to be the guidelines when you are sewing. They are very necessary. Now you transfer the same pattern on your fabric, the main fabric for the patch pocket. And if your fabric is stretching, that's a no-no. Make sure you use a very good interfacing and not the one that stretches like I've explained earlier. After you do this, transfer your markings all over again on the interfacing if the fabric is stretching and you had to use interfacing to make it sturdy. Then after this, you just start sewing the same way and sew the upper part first, iron all the folds in. So the extra seam allowance is already, the pocket size is inside. You're going to use the seam allowance, you need probably 1 centimeter or half inch. Then you sew all round, as simple as ABC. It depends on you. I think the difficulty level is about the same thing, but we all have our preferences in sewing. And here we go.
So here we have our two pockets, the first one and the second one. If you ask me, well, this seems easier for me, pretty easy because it has a lining and all that. But if you do not have an overlocking machine, I don't advise you do this because you need to keep the edges really clean, except you want to use bias, which is going to be a lot of extra work, you know. But if you're going to line the fabric eventually, you can try this because this is going to be like on the main fabric. Then you're going to have your lining covering this up. And for the second one, as you can see, the inside is as clean is. There is nothing compared to this, but it is not so easy to sew. It depends on you. All I'll say is try the two and pick the one that suits you. And you may need to stitch this side a little bit and stitch this side a little bit to keep the pocket down. You don't want your pocket pulling up or the edges in the inside for the inside seams showing. Either you sew like this, like a straight horizontal sewing, or you do a slant on these two edges. But if it's a no sew, really, that's why if it's a no sew, let it be a no sew. I mean, I don't like when it's just showing. So basically, whatever suits you better. I like the two, and it depends on what I'm working with. I choose the one I want. When you try the two, then you can choose the one you like for each project you have to do as well. Until I see you in the next video, do not forget once again to like and subscribe. And till I see you in the next video, keep being productive and keep the creative just flowing all the time. For questions, you'll find my contact details in the comment section. And for some items I use that you may like to buy, like this very beautiful scissors, which has been serving me well, and it is so sharp. I'll be dropping the links as well in the comment section. You can order yours and have fun while using it. Thank you, and see you in the next video some other time.